Well, hello and welcome to Talksport's coverage of Aston Villa against Crystal Palace from Villa Park. I'm your commentator Barry Swain and you are listening to Premier League Live. Roy Hodgson's steady Eagles have started the season in solid fashion. Up in 7th, they're looking to move on to double figures in terms of points this afternoon. Aston Villa down in 10th. And, the Midlands is the destination for the Eagles this afternoon. Villa in fine form at home, but away from home they've been pretty weak. A weak underbelly has been clear for all to see in their 2 away fixtures so far. Heavy defeats at Newcastle and Liverpool. Roy Hodgson has never lost to Unai Emery. If that record is to be broken today, it will be done without Hodgson actually being at Villa Park. A statement released earlier today by Crystal Palace stating that Roy Hodgson was taken ill this morning and will not be at Villa Park this afternoon. Paddy McCarthy alongside Ray Lewington in charge of Crystal Palace this afternoon. Moving on to the team news, Aston Villa make one change. Diego Carlos picked up an injury in the last league game a fortnight ago at Anfield, and he is injured and sidelined. Italian Nicolo Zaniolo comes in to make his Villa debut at home. His first start, Alex Moreno and Leander Dendoncker are both fit for the bench, which is 2 bouts of good news for Unai Emery. So let's run through that Villa side for you. Emiliano Martinez is the goalkeeper. The back four, Matty Cash, Ezri Konsa, Pau Torres and Luca Digne. Douglas Luiz alongside Boubacar Kamara in the middle of the midfield, Moussa Diaby and Zaniolo, and John McGinn the captain, with Ollie Watkins leading the line. On the bench, Leon Bailey, Jean Duran, Yuri Tillemans, Clement Longley still waiting for his debut in Villa colours, Philip Marshall, Leander Dendoncker, Callum Chambers and Alex Moreno. Robin Olsen is the other substitute. 2 goalkeepers on the bench for Villa, 2 goalkeepers on the bench for Crystal Palace, who make their first changes of the season. Unchanged in every single game so far. They make 2 today, of course without Roy Hodgson, so Paddy McCarthy in charge, but the team was already selected. And those 2 changes come because of injury. Jefferson Lerma and Mark Gahey are both absent. Chris Richards comes into the heart of the defence. Will Hughes takes over in the middle of midfield. Rob Holding, signed on transfer deadline day from Arsenal, makes his bow on the bench. Today's referee is Darren England, assisted by Simon Bennett and Akil Howson, making his Premier League debut. Stephen Martin, the 4th official. We're hoping not to hear from these 2 guys, Robert Jones and Ian Hussin. They are the VAR. And, Aston Villa in their claret and blue shirts and white shorts. Palace in a change number today, which is white shirts with a light blue sash across the front of the shirt, light blue shorts and white socks. We're all just about ready to get underway. A shake of the hands between the 2 match officials, and there will be a minute's silence coming up in just a moment, which is going to take place at every single Premier League match this weekend. It's a mark of respect for Morocco and Libya. Premier League is deeply saddened by the recent tragic events in both of those countries. Premier League making its statement as a mark of respect to the thousands that have lost their lives or were affected by these disasters in Morocco and in Libya. And now we are ready to get underway. Aston Villa, 9 wins out of 9 at home, trying to forget their mishaps on the road. They've been excellent in front of their own fans either side of the summer break. But Crystal Palace have had a pretty decent start themselves this season. No Roy Hodgson this afternoon, no Mark Gahey, no Jefferson Lerma, but they will still be a tough proposition, I'm sure, for Aston Villa. The game is underway. Tyrick Mitchell has won a throw-in on this near side, the left. It's from left to right that Palace attacked the first half towards the Holt end. Tyrick Mitchell taking that throw, by the way. He is making his 100th Premier League appearance this afternoon. Long ball forward up towards Abira Eze, chasing on as it's turned back to the goalkeeper by Pau Torres, who had a very nervous afternoon last time out in the defeat against Liverpool at Anfield. Certainly very uncomfortable in the first half in that match. Error-strewn, giving the ball away on a couple of occasions, at fault for at least one goal. He'll be looking for a better performance this afternoon. They have had 3 clean sheets in 5 matches that he started, Pau Torres, for Aston Villa. And here he is, feeding onto a ball from right to left by Ezri Konsa, who's starting his 41st Premier League match for Aston Villa in succession. Here he is in the centre circle, slowing things down to an absolute stop at the moment, waiting for Eze to close in on him. And back in the midfield by Jordan Ayew, former Villa player of course, but it's switched by Kamara out towards Matty Cash. Chance to get forward from the right back position. Back inside again to Kamara. Has to go backwards to Pau Torres. It goes even further backwards to Ezri Konsa. Konsa again bringing it to a stop in the centre circle, chipping out towards the right hand side. Very high ball it was, somehow kept in play by the head of Matty Cash, but now they've got to dart back Aston Villa as the ball is quickly played upfield towards Odsonne Edouard. He has to hold it up. Will Hughes in the middle of the midfield for Crystal Palace keeps it ticking out to the left hand side, and Mitchell, and then Hughes is caught from behind by Moussa Diaby. Or was it Kamara? It was Kamara in fact, and free kick given to Crystal Palace. Joachim Andersen back to his goalkeeper Sam Johnston, former Villa player of course, 70 appearances on loan here and 2 loan spells between 2016 and 2018. 3 England caps of course. Sam Johnston, now he's got Dean Henderson breathing down his neck as the number 2, wanting to be the number 1 following his arrival from Manchester United. Nearly 3 minutes gone. You are listening to Premier League Live. We are on Twitter at Talksport Live. Villa 0, Palace 0. If you're just joining us, the big news coming out of Villa Park so far this afternoon is that Crystal Palace manager Roy Hodgson is not here today. He was taken ill this morning, and of course it goes without saying we wish him speedy recovery. Earlier on today, Wolves 1, Liverpool 3. Liverpool coming from behind in less than glamorous performance from them at Molineux, but they won 3-1 and they are top of the tree. Manchester City kicking off at the moment against West Ham will be out to change it. There's a chasing, but a vital foot in by Douglas Luiz steers it back to Pau Torres, and he goes further back to Emiliano Martinez. 2 clean sheets in 7 against Crystal Palace for the World Cup winning Argentine. There's Riconza strolling forward and squaring it off to Pau Torres. They started with 3 at the back at Anfield and quickly reverted to a 4-4-2, and that's what they've stuck with. But Cash is able to get forward down the right hand side. Back it goes to Konza. Konza is Kamara. Only saw the 1-4 on the back of Konza. It's 44 on the back of Kamara, and we saw the 1 as he turned and the second 4 appeared. Konza again, all on his own in the centre circle. He's not going to break sweat this afternoon. He carries on playing like that because he's just slowing it down to stop. Wide to Cash, down the line towards Diaby. Diaby turns in the full circle back to the busy McGinn, who looks up and squares it off to Pau Torres. Out wide of him is the French international Luca Digne, who will be glaring ominously at the bench at the sight this afternoon of Alex Moreno being fit again and back in the Villa squad for the first time this season. Douglas Luiz He's been in a goal-scoring run in the early stages of the season. Out wide to Kamara. And then Cash coming inside, 25 yards from goal, no chance of a shot. They're well organised, Crystal Palace, always have been, always will be. So it's backwards they go, Douglas Luiz. It would be the pattern of play in this game. Villa will dominate possession. They might just find it a little bit more difficult to turn that dominance into chances and goals. Pau Torres out wide again to Digne. And then stroll forward from Zaniolo. Zaniolo is playing down the left-hand side. That gives McGinn the freedom of a more central role. He can often play down the left-hand side. Crystal Palace have the ball with Johnston, the goalkeeper. Former West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper as well. He's very familiar with these parts. Spent a lot of his career in and around Birmingham. The ball is played out from the back by Richards. It wasn't a particularly good ball to Will Hughes. Into the penalty area. That's a good interception by the ever-dependable Joel Ward, the captain of Crystal Palace, who launches it left-footed over the halfway line. Odson Edouard will chase. Ezri Konsa gets there first and steals the ball off of him and places it carefully back to his goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez, to a ripple of appreciation from the Holt end away to my left. 6.5 minutes almost played. 0-0 between Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. Palace have played league matches here 21 times in the past. They've never scored more than one goal in any of those 21. This is not a ground in which they associate goal scoring, certainly not in league matches. They did score once 4 times here many years ago in an FA Cup tie. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. They've never drawn 0-0, Aston Villa, under Unai Emery. In fact, Unai Emery's Arsenal managerial career did not involve a goalless draw in the Premier League. Here's Matty Cash, slots it forward. It's a nice ball as well to Diaby. Diaby can't quite find a teammate. He's deflecting around. There's a bit of pinball wizard in there before it's cleared away under pressure from Jeffrey Schlupp, the experienced left-sided midfielder. Now McGinn trying to hustle his way down the left-hand side, but Schlupp steps in and plants it forward up towards Doucouré. Doucouré holding off the initial challenge, holds it up well. Edouard trying to flip the ball over towards the right hand side, and former Villa man Jordan Ayew. Now Edouard again, he's onside down the left hand side for Crystal Palace, tried to play it back out towards Eze, played it straight into the shins of Matty Cash, who picks up possession again for Aston Villa. Neat little flick there by Zaniolo, who was impressive actually in the game against Liverpool Anfield a couple of weeks ago when he came on as a sub. Certainly merited a call from the start today, and indeed that's exactly what their head coach Unai Emery has prompted by naming him in the starting 11. Pau Torres to McGinn, quickly out to the right hand side, and this is a familiar outlet already this afternoon. Matty Cash, corner edge of the penalty area, right hand side, can't get the cross in. It's good defending by Tyreek Mitchell, has to go all the way back to Kamara. Now Torres again. Pau Torres out wide to the left hand side, and Luca Digne standing in front of the players' tunnel over on the far side. Digne again, back to Pau Torres, all the way back to Ezri Konsa. A long ball forward, which is easy for Johnston to step out and get there ahead of Ollie Watkins, who's yet to score in the Premier League this season. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0, nearly 9 minutes gone. 0-0 in all the other 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon. Liverpool winning 3-1 at Wolves to go top. Villa winning the ball back in the midfield. Kamara, and that's a decent looking ball over the top. Something to run onto for Moussa Diaby. Gets to the byline. And it was a really good challenge coming in by Chris Richards. He not only got the block on it, he took the sting out of it, and it dropped nicely into the arms of the Crystal Palace goalkeeper Sam Johnston. And that was a lively forage forward from Crystal Palace. Still goalless. Palace happy to sit back and absorb so far. Chris Richards, only the second start in 20 Premier League games for Crystal Palace. Chris Richards has been an unused sub 16 times in that time. Palace have got a man down. That man down is Jordan Ayew, who's holding his ankle, and he's not moved since he's gone down. He was caught by Digne, took the ball away from Digne, and Digne was swinging towards the ball, by which time the foot got in the way and he caught the back of the leg of Jordan Ayew. That's a painful one. West Ham 0, Manchester City 0. Paolo Di Canio amongst the crowd at the London Stadium this afternoon. Tottenham 0, Sheffield United 0, Manchester United 0, Brighton 0, Fulham 0, Luton 0, and of course here Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. And there's going to be a change imminently for Aston Villa by the look of things, as Crystal Palace come forward with Tyreek Mitchell. It's a heavy touch, but he's managed to find space for himself and keep the ball. Eze back to Tyreek Mitchell again, holding the ball up, waiting for Eze to find some space on the left hand side. He motors forward, the England international who enjoyed a cameo appearance in the international break in England colours. Joachim Andersen wanted a little bit too much time. He's gone out for a Palace throw, which Mitchell will take. Cry of Eagles, Eagles from the Crystal Palace fans that have made their journey up the M1 from London. There's Mitchell into the feet of Edouard, tries to turn it down the line towards the blonde-haired Will Hughes, who missed the start of the season with a knee injury, the former Watford and Derby man. It's one back in the midfield again. Czech Doucouré, big, strong, powerful midfield player, typical Roy Hodgson player. Villa have it back with Nicolo Zaniolo. Hanging tight to him is Joel Ward, who played all 14 Premier League games under Roy Hodgson since his return. The 33-year-old, he's got the captain's armband, plays again today. It was as tight as anything on the Italian international there on his home debut. 2 goals in 17 appearances for Roma last season, from the Galatasaray man. Villa have the ball. Douglas Luiz sent sprawling to the ground with a minimalistic challenge from behind by Ebere Eze. Free kick to Villa. He was rather looking for that, Douglas Luiz. Free kick is over on the left hand side, right over on the far left hand side. Villa have been the dominant force in the opening 12 and a half minutes, but it's still 0-0. And thanks to some solid, well organised Crystal Palace defending, there have not really been any chances for Villa to back up the early possession. It's with Martinez, the goalkeeper, strolling out of his box in all black today. Former Arsenal man, of course. It was all about football in the capital. A long ball over the top, which Joachim Andersen steps in and takes it off of Zaniolo and gives it carefully to Doucouré. Tries to shred it through the middle, but it's picked up nice and easily by Kamara, and now Villa can come forward down the right hand side. Cash sprinting, manages to keep it in play. Out wide of him is Moussa Diaby. Diaby's got Tyreek Mitchell in close proximity, so Kamara picks up the baton and gives it to John McGinn. Scottish international, faced England in midweek. Not a good result for Scotland, losing 3-1. No, England were excellent. Here's Ezri Konsa into the feet of McGinn. That's nice. Zaniolo tried a little dummy. He was in two minds whether to flick it or leave it. That kind of was indecisive and cost Villa in the end, but it did trickle through to Luca Digne. And Zaniolo is challenged from behind by Czech Doucouré. No fouls as the referee, which is greeted by whistles from the majority inside Villa Park. One back by Douglas Luiz against Jordan Ayew. And then Luiz again finding Boubacar Kamara, who's been an ever-present this season, unused substitute in the international break for France against both the Republic of Ireland and Germany. Very much part of the plans here from the first whistle. Still 0-0 in all 5 games taking place this afternoon. 3 o'clock kickoffs in the UK in the English Premier League, including this one. Just coming up to the 15-minute mark. Here's Pau Torres, looks up and Spreads it over to the right-hand side again. Matty Cash, you've seen plenty of the ball inside the Crystal Palace half so far. Boubacar Kamara. Back to Douglas Luiz. Kamara again. Douglas Luiz once again, and Kamara once again. And he goes all the way back to his goalkeeper from inside the Crystal Palace half. They'll need to be patient this afternoon. Not only those Aston Villa players, but the fans as well, because this is a well-drilled Crystal Palace side. Roy Hodgson knows how to set out in the Premier League in these situations. He might not be here today, but his tactics certainly are being carried out by Ray Lewington, and Paddy McCarthy's in charge as well today, with Roy Hodgson taken ill this morning. As I said earlier on in the commentary, all our very best wishes to Roy for a speedy recovery. Hope to see him back on the touchline very, very soon. They play Fulham at home next week. Palace. Here's Matty Cash teasing down the right hand side. Back to Luis, but it's blocked by Doucouré. Dragged out the play for a throw-in to Aston Villa. 64% possession so far from Villa, but they're given the ball away to Eze, who's sent sprawling by McGinn, and I suspect, yes, McGinn is going to be the first yellow card of the game, to groans from the... Oh, is it? Who's he giving it to? Well, I thought he'd given it to McGinn, and he's given it to Eberici Eze. Well, it was definitely a foul by McGinn. Yes, McGinn does get the yellow card, but so too does Eberici Eze. I don't know what for. So a yellow card apiece there from today's referee, Darren England. It remains goalless. I'm still none the wiser as to why Eze was shown yellow, but he was. Oh, there's a mistake at the back, and this is Ollie Watkins, saved brilliantly. Sam Johnston, the RB pulls it back, and it's cleared away by Chris Richards. Best chance of the game by a country mile. He hasn't scored in the Premier League yet this season, Ollie Watkins, and he won't get many better chances. Here's Cash into the penalty area. It touches the leg of Chris Richards and whizzes just inches past the post for a corner. Two big chances there in the space of a few seconds, and it was given away uncharacteristically by Ward. Tried to return it back to Anderson, and he gave it straight to Ollie Watkins, who was denied by a very good save by Sam Johnston. Still 0-0, but for all their brilliant organisation, Crystal Palace very nearly shot themselves in the foot there. Corner is taken short by Luis. It's flung in from the right hand side by McGinn, cleared away by Joachim Anderson. Up towards the halfway line, it's retrieved by Pau Torres. Looks up, plants it out to the right hand side. McGinn playing as a right winger at the moment, cutting back inside into a central position whilst manoeuvring backwards 10 yards from where he started. He's eventually brought down by Jordan Ayew. Referee plays on. Douglas Luiz tries to thread it through. He's brought down on the edge of the penalty area. No free kick given. Will Hughes working hard to try and clear it. Ollie Watkins will latch onto the ball down the left hand side, keeps it alive, and then Digne gets the cross in into Douglas Luiz. Back to Zaniolo, and then the shot by Moussa Diaby. Big shouts of a handball against Anderson, and eventually a free kick is given. The referee greeted by a chorus of boos around Villa Park in what was a frenetic couple of moments there. McGinn coming inside, should have got a free kick for the foul by Ayew. The referee tried to play an advantage, and well, there was a couple of fouls there that Villa fans believe shouldn't have gone unpunished. And all that whilst Jordan Ayew was on the floor. That was a really good spell of pressure from Aston Villa, and two great chances. Still 0-0. And Ollie Watkins looking into the ground and knowing that he just missed a really big chance on an afternoon when chances are likely to be few and far between. And Crystal Palace, the makers of their own problems really there. It was a 1-2 between Ward and Anderson. It didn't come off. It went straight to Watkins, who couldn't believe his luck. Should have scored, but he's not playing with the utmost confidence at the moment, Ollie Watkins. Paddy McCarthy's barking out instructions. Took charge temporarily last season, and then he was kept on the backroom staff by Roy Hodgson on his return. And there's a man to learn from, and Paddy McCarthy's been put in the hot seat this afternoon on a very warm afternoon, sunshine in the Midlands. It's been a warm September. Today is likely to be the last day of summer. Looking at the weather forecast, it all dips downhill from here. Most Villa fans and travelling Palace fans in short sleeve shirts today, perhaps for the last time in a while. Villa enjoying the lion's share, but it's still goalless. 21 minutes gone. Andre Ayew, get the brothers muddled up. Jordan Ayew, of course, Ghana international, as is Andre, his brother. They played a few games between them for country. Flick on by Douglas Luiz. It's a little bit uncomfortable at the moment, but one back by Nicolo Zaniolo, who strides forward with those long legs down the left-hand side into the penalty area. Zaniolo, good block by Chris Richards, who was quick to get across and close down the Italian and make the block. Good intervention by Chris Richards, and it needed to be as well, because Zaniolo looked very good there, powering his way forward. He shook off the attempted challenge from Joachim Anderson. Here comes the cross for Aston Villa from Digne, away by the knee of Anderson. Zaniolo again, it wouldn't come down for him, tries to play it back out of the penalty area. He succeeds only in playing it to an opponent, but here's Digne inside. Will Hughes is there, but he's back to goal to turn it away for a throw into Villa. A roar from the Villa fans, looking for a little bit extra. Douglas Luiz crossing into the penalty area against the 10 men of Palace at the moment. They've got a man down. Here's Cash, lost it for a second, keeps it alive, gets the cross in. It was a poor one, and it trickles straight through to Johnson, and the play will now be held up because Ayew has stayed down. Well, they were preparing a substitute a few minutes ago, Aston Villa, I thought, over on the far side. Nothing came of that. Manchester United 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. I can tell you, there is your first goal of the afternoon in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. Brighton made 7 changes from the victory over Newcastle today, making their bow in Europe this week, of course, as well. And, well, they're ahead at Old Trafford. Ayew's gone down, and it looks like there's going to be a change. And it's going to be Jean-Philippe Mateta who's going to come on. He's been down a couple of times. It's not a surprise that Jordan Ayew is going to limp off. It's obviously something a little bit more serious that he's not going to be able to shake off. 2 assists against Wolves after coming on as a sub in the last game. The French under-21 international Jean-Philippe Mateta, former French under-21, comes on and will take his place down the right-hand side. Perhaps a slightly more adventurous look about Villa now. Perhaps looking to try and take the game to their hosts. First touch for the newly introduced man. Just plays it inside to Edouard, who gives it straight to Villa with a poor pass. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. You are listening to Premier League Live. We are on Twitter at Talksport Live. as we always are. Not too many goals around the Premier League this afternoon so far. 25 minutes gone. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. Villa keeping possession. Boubacar Kamara inside to Ezri Konsa. Kamara again looking towards the right, but he's overhit the pass right in front of the Crystal Palace fans, beyond Matty Cash and out for a throw. That was disappointing. Long throw by Tyreek Mitchell. It's bouncing around at the feet of Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's come over to the left-hand side for now, but McGinn has won it back. Long ball forward, and Anderson stuck his head where it hurts to avoid that ball, making it through to Ollie Watkins. Could have been a really good ball as well. And then there's a foul on Schlupp, who's gone over to the right-hand side, incidentally, Schlupp. And Mateta has come down the left. Such a versatile player, Jeff Schlupp, and so experienced as well, the 30-year-old Ghanaian. Thumped forward by Sam Johnston. Really long, powerful ball, finding the feet of Eze. It was inch perfect from Johnston. Now Eze coming inside from the left, chipping it over the top. It's a good ball as well. Edouard tries to spin and get the shot in. It's turned behind, and it's going to be a goal kick because the challenge, actually from Boubacar Kamara, hit the Crystal Palace striker Odsonne Edouard, and goes behind for a goal kick. Just the one goal in the Premier League so far, and it's gone to Brighton. Danny Welbeck, by the way, scored that goal for Brighton on his return to Old Trafford, where of course he was a player for so long. Scored quite a few goals during his time with United. Scored against them this afternoon. Manchester United 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. Villa have the ball inside their own half. Crystal Palace well organised, making it difficult for them. Digne, crunching challenge coming in from Joel Ward, who not only got the challenge in, he managed to thump it against the Frenchman Digne, and out for a throw to Crystal Palace. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0 here on Premier League Live. Laid down the line towards Mateta, who's gone back over to the right-hand side now. Switching with Schlupp. Let's see a little bit of that during the afternoon. Ezri Konsa out wide. He manages to complete the pass this time to Matty Cash. Back to Konsa. Not a possession from Villa. Not too many chances. The best one falling to Ollie Watkins, but he was denied by an excellent save from Sam Johnston, the former Aston Villa goalkeeper. Loose ball in the midfield, picked up in the centre circle by Hughes, touched by Odsonne Edouard. Wasn't a particularly good one, but it lands into the feet of Abira Eze, but as he plums inside, he gives it straight to Digne, but his clearance will go straight to Tyreek Mitchell, England international, inside to Eze, also an England international. All the way back to the Dane Anderson, out wide to right hand side. Joel Ward hits the feet of Schlupp. Decore, Schlupp again, little ball over the top to Eze inside the penalty area left hand side. Abira Eze tried to open up and curl it. Well, it could have constituted a shot, it could have constituted a cross, but Odsonne Edouard didn't react quick enough on the far post, and it drifted well wide of its intended target. But that was certainly as good as we've seen from Crystal Palace so far. I think it was a shot, but it looked more like a cross. And it's still Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. Four of the 5 matches in the Premier League kicking off at 3 o'clock this afternoon, still 0-0, including this one. Long ball over the top from Emiliano Martinez, headed away by Richards. Now Konsa, flicked up in the air by Douglas Luiz. It was a lovely touch as well to take him beyond Decore, and Decore then trips him up. A free kick to Aston Villa, and I think quite rightly the Aston Villa fans are a little bit aggrieved that Doucouré isn't shown a yellow card for that foul. It's lovely skill by Luis to flick it over the shoulder of Doucouré, and then he's just clipped from behind. Doucouré on Luis. Free kick, but no yellow. Half an hour on the clock. Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. Free kick to Aston Villa. And that free kick is going to be taken by Lucadinha. Oh, it's a dreadful free kick. It's absolutely awful. He went to kick it and he's kicked it straight to the one-man wall. And I mean, when I say kicked it to the one-man wall, he's literally rolled it. Crystal Palace didn't make the most of what could have been a breakaway opportunity. Here's Cash, challenge from Odson Edouard. They want the throw, Palace, but it's gone the way of Aston Villa. It's Pau Torres gets it back from Douglas Luiz to his right shoulder. Ezri Konsa. Cash, right hand side, checks back to Boubacar Kamara. Konsa, Torres, two central defenders combining. It's a bit laboured from Aston Villa at the moment. There's not much in the way of end product. The one chance they have had was a gift from Crystal Palace. Here's Watkins. McGinn shins it over the top towards Zaniolo. Cleared away by Tyrick Mitchell, who's been caught slightly out of position, but good covering by Will Hughes, who wins it back. That's a lovely flick as well by Odson Edouard into the feet of Eze, but cleared away very well by Pau Torres for a throw to Crystal Palace on this near side. Eze again, inside to Doucouré. Now crossing over the halfway line on the right hand side is Joel Ward. Back heel inside, managing to find Jeff Schlupp. Jeff Schlupp then drives forward. Got Kamara in close proximity. Ward with the cross, but it's been beaten away by Digne. Doucouré out wide to the left hand side, inside the penalty area for Eze. Eze, little step over, he's got two to beat, cuts inside them both and rolls it straight to Ollie Watkins, who clears for Aston Villa. And now Watkins can come away down the right hand side, but Will Hughes is quick to close down the gap and try and win it back for Aston Villa. He does very well. Eze. Villa fans felt there was a foul there. Eze tried to flick it through the middle towards Jean-Philippe Matete, but it was an overhit pass and Emiliano Martinez comes out and gathers. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. The boos there because they felt that Will Hughes was slightly over-exuberant with his challenge. Still goalless. And with the exception of the Ollie Watkins chance, not too much to talk about in this game so far. Long ball over the top, they might be now. This is a real chance for Aston Villa, and it's taken brilliantly by Moussa Diaby. Long ball over the top, and for once Crystal Palace were sleeping, and Moussa Diaby run onto it and rolled the ball out of the reach of Sam Johnston, the former Villa goalkeeper, and into the corner. And just when you were beginning to feel like Aston Villa were running out of ideas and they were starting to show some frustration at trying to break open Crystal Palace, one long ball from Lucadinha, brilliant control by Moussa Diaby, and the finish wasn't bad either. Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 0. Really good goal. Lucadinha, Route 1, made in France by the two French internationals. Digne long ball, Diaby plucked it out of the air like his life depended on it. It was as if he had a pot of glue stuck to his boots. He trapped it absolutely perfectly, and the finish was just too quick, and so Sam Johnston was unable to do anything about it. And Villa break through after 34 minutes. It was a really well taken goal. Now there is a VAR check, and my first instinct is that this might well be given as offside. It is offside. the initial reaction is there's a red line and the monitor is saying offside. The goal has been overturned, and the Aston Villa celebrations have been overturned as well. Moussa Diaby's goal, his third Premier League goal of the season. Well, it would have been for the Player of the Month for August, but the French international has just seen it ruled out for offside. VAR has come to Crystal Palace's rescue. It was so tight, but I think it was. But it was so marginal. Well, Aston Villa have created very little, trying to prise open Crystal Palace. But then suddenly that long ball from Luca Digne straight over the top absolutely cut them open. Brilliant control by Moussa Diaby, and the finish was excellent as well. Here's Douglas Luiz. West Ham leading in their game against Manchester City. James Ward-Prowse. Here come Villa. Cross in from Digne. Cleared away. Villa throw. Level with the edge of the penalty area over on the left-hand side. Digne takes. Gets it back from Luiz. Digne. Diaby. Digne again. The French 1-2. Tries to get the cross in. Blocking it at source. There's Joel Ward, another throw to Villa. That's great play by Zaniolo. Pulls it back. Cash should have scored, and he completely mishit it. Oh, that's a glaring miss from 8 yards out. It was a fullback's finish. That's where you needed Ollie Watkins, not Matty Cash. He made a complete hash, did Matt Cash, when really he should be turning it home. Great work down the left from Zaniolo. Villa aren't finished yet. Out wide from Torres, who gets it back again. Digne. Zaniolo's been good. Digne again. Hooks a cross in. It's headed over the top of the crossbar by Matty Cash. I don't think he was expecting it to come through. Moussa Diaby seemed to duck underneath it, and Cash didn't know much about it until he literally arrived with his forehead on the ball and crushes it over the top of the crossbar. I don't think he was expecting it, but he should have done better. Well, suddenly Crystal Palace's stronghold defensively is looking a little on the fragile side. It was a great ball in from Cash initially, and then Zaniolo with some brilliant skill to get past Ward, pulls it back, and Matt Cash is, well, if you let the ball roll from Matty Cash's shot, it's going out for a throw-in 10 yards from the corner flag. That's how bad it was. And here come Villa. Eze, he's their go-to man, slots it forward towards Odsonne Edouard. He's in a wide position, tries to get the cross in. Good defending by Pau Torres. Liverpool top after a 3-1 win at Wolves. Manchester City behind. Here come the visitors. But Jean-Philippe Mateta has given it straight to Douglas Luiz, who sprays it down the left-hand side, and Watkins against Anderson. Watkins reverses it into the penalty area. McGinn back to Zaniolo. It's come to a standstill at the moment, Zaniolo. Then goes on the outside. His cross hits Richards, and it's cleared away by Crystal Palace. They'll start again with Pau Torres. 6 minutes to half time. Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. Villa on top. Disallowed goal. Should be winning, but they're still 0-0. Douglas Luiz scoops it over the top. Headed away by Anderson. Onto the chest of Mateta. He can't control it though. McGinn hooks up. Edge of the penalty area. Zaniolo. Good play by Decore to win it back. Now Hughes into Eze. Eze sidesteps the challenge and sends it out wide. And here come Crystal Palace. Could be dangerous on the counter-attack. It's Aston Edouard down the left-hand side. He's reached the penalty area. A little step over, cuts inside, looking for the shot. Instead he backheels it towards Tyreek Mitchell, who's never going to get there before John McGinn, who bursts away with the ball for Aston Villa. But he's run the ball out under the pressure of Tyreek Mitchell, and it's going to be a throw to Crystal Palace. Still 0-0 into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Eventful game so far. Still, it remains goalless. 6 attempts from Villa, only 1 from the visitors, Crystal Palace. Villa unbeaten in 6 against Palace, who last one here in December 2013, just come up to 10 years ago. Dwight Gale scoring an injury time second half winner and a 1-0 win for Tony Pulis' team. Just 1 goalless draw in 21. That was back in 2015. Good hold-up play by Mateta. And then Eze tries a curling effort. It hits the defender, Ezri Konza, and goes behind for a corner kick to Palace as Manchester United equalise against Brighton. Manchester United 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. Corner over on the far side. Jeff Schlupp is standing over it, but he's standing over it as if to say, what do I do? I don't really want to be taking this. And he's going to have to take it. He's none the wiser as to what he needs to do, so he's going to leave the ball there. Eberechi Eze is jogging over slowly to take the corner, which is not appreciated too much by the Aston Villa crowd. Eze will swing it right-footed outwards, eludes everyone, and comes out to Diaby. Scored that goal that was disallowed by VAR. Eze, Henderson, Decore, Eze, Decore. Good defending by Watkins, who puts his body on the line and blocks it away for a throw-in. Hoyland with a goal for Manchester United. 1-1 at Old Trafford against Brighton. 0-0 here between Aston Villa and Crystal Palace, where there's goals. West Ham 1, Manchester City 0. James Ward-Prowse with the goal. Manchester United 1, Brighton 1 earlier. Liverpool 3-1 winners at Wolves to go top for now. Goal kick as the ball is played up towards Mateta. Gone straight through for a goal kick. Well, they're working their way from the back with Ezri Konza. Pau Torres. Digne. In front of the technical areas on the far side, Digne. To Torres again. Then Donker is fit again for Villa. So too Moreno. Here come Crystal Palace. They do look a threat when they come forward, but not on this occasion. McGinn taking it off of Eze. There's a foul by England against Scotland there. Quick free kick. Now Douglas Luiz. There's a foul on Digne, but it's off the ball. The referee wisely plays on, but it's a poor pass by Luiz, away by Tyreek Mitchell. And that's a decent touch from Aston Edouard out wide to Eze. He's got space to run into, left hand side, back inside to Edouard. It's a hefty touch, but he's still got the ball. And then Decore tries to play it out wide towards Mateta. Villa wise to it. Ward winning it back. Ward winning it back with a foul against Zaniolo, and a free kick has gone the way of the home side Aston Villa, to the ironic cheers that you would have heard in the background. And it's still Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. We're into the last minute of the 45. I can't imagine there's going to be too much in the way of time added on. We had that goal, which was quickly looked at. It was quickly resolved by VAR in a swift and appropriate fashion. Here is the goal scorer of that goal that never was, Moussa Diaby, down the left-hand side this time, waiting for Digne. Goes back to Diaby, that French 1-2 again. Torres slams it in towards the penalty area. Good close control by Zaniolo. It's had a good first half. Pulled back, Zaniolo left it through his legs, but Doucouré gets there first, and Palace are able to clear. And the outlet once again on the left-hand side is Eze. Good interception by Kamara. Luis to McGinn. McGinn caught from behind by Will Hughes, but the referee has said play on. 5 minutes of added time. Not quite sure where that's all come from. There was that injury, of course, a couple of injuries to Ayew, which probably contributed largely towards that 5 minutes that have been added on. So 5 minutes added on time. Doucouré for Crystal Palace, just inside his own half. Now Schlupp, just carefully across to the left-hand side, but there's no one there in a white shirt. Tyrick Mitchell sprinting back to stop it going out from a throw-in, for a throw-in. And Will Hughes. Back to goalkeeper Sam Johnston. A long ball forward, eludes everyone. It's from one goalkeeper to the other. And we've played nearly a minute of the 5 added on. The game has had everything but a goal. Esri Konza played the ball before he was barged into by Edouard. Now Digne, chance to sprint forward. It's a lovely ball through the middle, and it almost reached Ollie Watkins. Well, it did, but it was a difficult one to take in his stride. He gave it the desperate little touch to try and take it away from the defender, but it just rolled into the path of Richards, who smashed it into the crowd. Pau Torres, Douglas Luiz. Pau Torres, the Spanish international, signed in the summer from Villarreal for just over 30 million. He is again, Pau Torres. Again, back to Torres again. On the feet of Diaby. Diaby can't find a route through, and it's been pinched back by Crystal Palace. Odsonne Edouard, ball through the middle towards Schlupp. It probably would have been offside, but it was overhit anyway, and cleared away by Emiliano Martinez. Straight out for a throw-in. Now the Manchester United goal, by the way, was ruled out for offside. Not the only goal to be ruled out, of course, for offside in this first half. Aston Villa have suffered the same fate here through Moussa Diaby's goal that was struck off after 34 minutes by VAR. It's a really good finish as well. It's such a shame in that, because it was really everything about the goal was pure class, apart from the fact he was offside. Played forward by Ward. Schlupp won't get there first. Into touch by Pau Torres. Haven't created too much so far in this game, Crystal Palace. They do look a menace coming forward. Here is Edouard. No way past Douglas Luiz, who just calms things down. Gives it to central midfield partner Kamara, and they work their way out from the back, Aston Villa. Zaniolo winning the throw on the far side, except the flag has gone the opposite direction, and it's a throw into Crystal Palace. Zaniolo's thrown the ball away, and he gets a yellow card, which is a needless yellow card, really. He's had a very good first half, Zaniolo. That was on a yellow, and all because he threw the ball away, because he didn't get the throw that he felt his team deserved. Still goalless. Here's Zaniolo. Douglas Luiz. Back to Pau Torres. There's Konza. Square of him. It's Boubacar Kamara. Over to the left-hand side, and Luca Digne. Digne finding Zaniolo. Back to Digne again, drills it into the 6-yard box. No one there for Villa. It will be retrieved on the right-hand side by Matty Cash. Back to Kamara. Diaby being watched carefully by Will Hughes. Cash, Moussa Diaby curling towards the far post, headed away by Schlupp. Comes to Zaniolo, tees it up. This is Moussa Diaby, couple of touches, shot takes a deflection, big shouts for handball, especially from Diaby as well as the crowd. VAR might have a look. deep into stoppage time. That 5 minutes is nearly up, and there's quite a few appeals. Let's have a look at the replay. Diaby shoots, and it strikes the hand of Richards, but you have to say, on the first viewing, it's definitely in a natural position. He's not even looking at the ball. That would be harsh. Half-time whistle is imminent. There might just be time for Villa to take this last throw-in. Digne into the box on the left-hand side. Zaniolo flicks it on, can't quite get the header in there. Ezri Konsa cleared by Palace. Half-time whistle does blow. We've seen a brilliant goal scored by Moussa Diaby, but he was inches, literally inches, if that, offside. VAR did its job and ruled out what was otherwise a very good goal after a long ball forward by Luca Digne. They found it difficult, Aston Villa. Good chance for Ollie Watkins after a rare mistake by Joel Ward, but he was denied by Sam Johnston. They've looked dangerous going forward, Palace, without really creating anything. And at half-time, it is goalless between Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. You're listening to Premier League Live. Now let's hand you back to Russ Hargreaves and Dave Kitson there at Old Trafford, where the half-time whistle has blown. It's Manchester United against Brighton Hove Albion. Hello and welcome back to Talksport's coverage of Aston Villa against Crystal Palace from Villa Park. I'm your commentator Barry Swain, and you are listening to Premier League Live. No goals at half-time. Well, not officially anyway. We saw a great finish just midway through the half. Moussa Diaby, long ball forward from Luca Digne, slotted it into the corner perfectly, but VAR ruled that he was inches offside. Doku has just equalised for Manchester City in the opening minute of the second half. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1. I wonder if there's going to be some early drama here. Jordan Ayew limping off for Crystal Palace in the first half. He's limping down the touchline at the moment with an ice pack. Not sure the extent of that injury. Crystal Palace players out on the pitch. Aston Villa out on the pitch as well. We're pretty much ready to go for the second half. Doesn't look as if there are any changes at the moment. Just waiting for confirmation on that, because the match officials have to walk down the line on the far side before they put their boards up. They're out nice and early. I haven't seen any sign that there's going to be a change from either side yet. Aside of that big chance from Moussa Diaby that he put into the net that was ruled out by VAR, there was that one chance for Ollie Watkins, brilliantly saved by Sam Johnston. They've looked dangerous going forward, Villa. Haven't really created anything, no. And now we're all ready for the second half. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1 from the London Stadium. Up in the Midlands, the first whistle of the second half sounds. Villa kicking from right to left towards their home fans at the Holt end of the stadium. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0. There's your half-time score. Is this again to produce a goal? Unai Emery has never drawn as a manager in the Premier League 0-0. But Crystal Palace have played 21 league games on this ground and have never scored more than one goal in a game. Aston Villa have kept 7 clean sheets in their last 9 here. They've won the last 9 here. Something somewhere in all those stats has to give. Here's Cash. Forward up towards Diaby. Moussa Diaby going on the outside against Richards, who so far has had a really good game, and he's stepped in and done brilliantly well to take the ball there off of Diaby. And plays it down the line to Hudson Edouard. Can't find Ibera Eze. One back by Villa and Boubacar Kamara. Now Luis wanted Digne to go further forward, and he actually was, but he does find Digne nonetheless. Pau Torres. Side to Ezri Konsa. Torres again, the tall Spanish central defender, trying to find the head of Digne as he makes a run down the left-hand side. Zaniolo is on the chase, but winning the ball was Schlupp, ever dependable in that Crystal Palace midfield. It's a big central midfield man, Czech Doucouré, was sent off here with 2 yellow cards back in March. Now they can get forward down the left-hand side. Quick ball from Jean-Philippe Mateta, and it's finished brilliantly by Hudson Edouard, and Crystal Palace have found the net after just 1 minute and 40 seconds of the second half. It's a smash and grab down the right hand side. Substitute Jean-Philippe Mateta with a cross, and Onsen Edouard, that's 5 in 6 now for him. He's on fire. Palace are leading. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1, and it's a brilliant finish from Onsen Edouard. He's burst forward down the right as Jean-Philippe Mateta plays it forward into the box, and there is Onsen Edouard, who just slips it past Martinez to give Crystal Palace the lead. Well, they don't score too many goals on this ground, but they've just gone and scored what could be a crucial one in the overall standings of this afternoon's game. That's a really good finish. And it's onside as well. Mateta was certainly onside. When he played it across, he was kind of in, because the ball was not going forward, he's not constituted as offside, so the goal definitely counts, and Onsen Edouard has given Crystal Palace the lead. And Aston Villa, who have a habit of winning at home, find themselves behind. It's now the Crystal Palace fans down below me, away to my right, that are celebrating. Matty Cash for Villa. Oh, it's a loose pass to Edouard. Edouard, he's got past the defender. This is Onsen Edouard, shakes off the challenge, and he's been pushed wide, and it's gone behind for a goal kick, in fact. And Onsen Edouard had a really big chance there. Should have done better. It wasn't great defending by Konza, who couldn't really keep up with him. It's ended up going behind for a goal kick, but that was a good chance, and he was causing problems, Onsen Edouard. So Crystal Palace fans making all the noise at the moment. Their side leading in the early stages of this second half by 1-0. Watkins, Douglas Luiz, lost in transit by McGinn, never really had control of it. Poor pass though by Onsen Edouard. He's gone out for a throw into the home side. They were trying to turn things over quickly. They do have Dendoncker on the bench, back from injury. And Moreno into the penalty area for Watkins, right hand side, 2 defenders on his back. Plays it all the way back to Matty Cash, Polish international, into McGinn, 25 yards out, curls it towards the left hand side, headed back by Digne to the edge of the penalty area, and to Zaniolo. Now Pau Torres, Zaniolo again, has a look up, not too many options in the box, so he goes wide to Luca Digne. Douglas Luiz, all the way back to Ezri Konza. To the side of him is Boubacar Kamara. Konza again. Now Pau Torres working it to the left hand side. Villa know they've got to be patient, even more so now. They find themselves a goal behind. It's with Pau Torres, who goes back to the halfway line, and Ezri Konza. Kamara again. And now Matty Cash. Inside to McGinn in a central position, finding Torres, gains a couple of yards, slips it out wide. Luca Digne curls a decent looking ball in, but it's too close to the goalkeeper, and a nice easy take by the former Villa goalkeeper Sam Johnston. 70 appearances and 2 loan spells between 2016-2018, culminating in an appearance at Wembley in the Championship final. They lost that game to Fulham by 1-0. Eberiche Eze has been fouled by Douglas Luiz, who does that shake of the finger at the referee as if to say no way, but it was a foul, and he's not going to change his mind. Darren England, the referee for today. I always say, if you don't notice a referee is having a good game, and I think Darren England kind of falls into that bracket so far. West Ham have hit the post. City have had chances, still 1-1. Sounds like a good game, that. And now here come Palace. Mitchell, great ball in. It was just too far ahead of Jean-Philippe Mateta as he went sliding in, and it bounced up into the arms of goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. But that was a really good Palace breakaway. Couldn't quite find a teammate with the cross. Palace winning the ball back again, and the onus is on them to keep the ball at the moment inside the Villa half, but that's a foul by Will Hughes on McGinn, and a yellow card is coming away with Will Hughes. I don't think he was playing, really. It's one of those run-of-the-mill yellows that you're always going to pick up. He stuck a leg out, the ball had already gone. Will Hughes uses up his one life and can't afford to use another. Eze and Hughes on yellows for Palace. McGinn and Zaniolo on yellows for Aston Villa. 53 minutes gone. You're listening to Premier League Live. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1. Villa leaving Warsaw away this week in the conference as Will Hughes gets back and turns it behind for a corner to Aston Villa. Villa go to their Gil Warsaw, then next Sunday it's Chelsea away before home games in the League Cup against Everton here, who've already beaten here 4-0, and Brighton. Palace hosting Fulham next week before 2 trips to Manchester United in the space of 4 days, one in the League Cup, one in the League. Corner to Aston Villa. It's going to be whipped in by Douglas Luiz from the left-hand side. Headed away unchallenged by Anderson. It's come all the way out to Luca Digne, who has the freedom of the middle of the park. Gives it to Diaby. There's Diaby again off of a pass from Douglas Luiz. They are racking together the passes here, Villa, but they need something on the end of a good move to get back into the game. Luca Digne needs a good cross. It is a decent looking cross. Up goes Watkins, headed away by Tyrick Mitchell, and then one back in the midfield by Boubacar Kamara. Back out wide by Konza, finding Matty Cash. Cash against Mitchell. Cash trying to get the better of Mitchell. Does get the cross in, it hits Mitchell and goes behind for a corner. Manchester United 0, Brighton 2 now in the game at Old Trafford. United 0, Seagulls 2. Unai Emery pacing up and down his technical area. 10 minutes into the second half, his team have fallen behind. Corner to Villa over on the far side. It's their right. It's going to be swung inwards from the left foot of Luca Digne. Deep delivery it is to Watkins, tries to get on the end of it. It was in the end a very good clearance away in the nick of time by Cheick Doucouré. Martinez in goal for Villa, coming up towards the halfway line to retrieve the loose ball. Douglas Luiz. Luiz again. Wide to Pau Torres, who's playing as a left back at the moment. And they're coming forward. It's with Pau Torres to Frenchman Luca Digne. It wasn't a particularly good pass to Torres. His long legs get there just ahead of Jeffrey Schlupp. Villa are able to deal with some muted pressure from the visitors, who lead by a goal to 0, but this might all change here. Out wide towards Zaniolo. Zaniolo pulls it back towards the penalty spot. No one there. Tyrick Mitchell is able to clear. Villa will start again. Douglas Luiz in a central position, looks up, tries to thread it through, and very nearly found Moussa Diaby, who's on the run. But here's Abira Eze. Pascal Gross with the second goal for Brighton at Old Trafford. Here come some changes for the home side. Leon Bailey is going to come on. Zaniolo is coming off. He had a good first half. He's been very quiet in the second. Leon Bailey coming on. And Tielemans is on. Boubacar Kamara, the other player to come off. Eze's gone down under the challenge of Bailey, the first action that he's been involved with since coming on as a sub, literally seconds after coming on. So a free kick to Crystal Palace, which is midway inside the Aston Villa half. Palace leading here by a 1-0. Eze, who won the free kick, takes a free kick. It's a decent little chip inside. Schlupp turns it back, might well have got out of play. No whistle from the referee, no flag from the assistant. Cleared away by Villa anyway. Headed by Tyrick Mitchell. Challenge coming in from Decore, did very well to find Eze, left-hand side, sends it forward towards Hughes. Hughes has rescued it, he's done very well, tries to get the cross in whilst in a sitting position, but as he scoops it up in the air, out comes Emiliano Martinez to win the ball, and he dispatches it to Ollie Watkins, who is away on that left-hand side for Aston Villa. Watkins has a look up, finding Moussa Diaby. Diaby comes back inside, Watkins is there, he kicks a player instead of the ball, and it's going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace. The roar is because in the eyes of the many Villa fans here today, that was a foul on Watkins, when in fact he kicked Ward in the back of the leg, and so a foul is given, and that was the correct decision. It's not gone down well with the referees, we've not gone down well with the crowd. Well, VAR might well have a look, but I don't think there's going to be anything on the end of it. Watkins went for it, and it seemed to me that Ward went through his teammate. Check Decore. Decore is still down on the floor, and it's been down for about a minute now, and finally the Crystal Palace medic has arrived on the scene. We've played just coming up to an hour, and we're looking at the goal again, and it was great work down the right from Jean-Philippe Mateta. Got the cross in, and it was a first time left-footed finish by Edouard. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1 as we hit the hour mark. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1. Manchester United 0, Brighton 2. There is a goal here. No goals between Tottenham and Sheffield United. No goals between Fulham and Luton. Two newly promoted sides, the two favourites to go up, both in London in action this afternoon, and both have got to the hour mark without conceding. Decore, on a letter of the law, will now have to leave the pitch and come back on again. Referee Darren England ordering the Crystal Palace midfielder off momentarily. In the meantime, it's a free kick to Crystal Palace, which will be taken by Sam Johnston. Paddy McCarthy is, despite being in charge today, he's got headset on and microphone. I think he's communicating with the medic that's looking after Decore. He's going to be okay. They're down to 10 at the moment, Palace. That's a header coming off of the top of the head of Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's slotted back into the midfield. Villa have it, and they're chasing the game with 29 minutes to go. It's with Ezri Konsa, former Brentford man. Started his career at Charlton. Here he is, Pau Torres. Long ball forward, it's one in the air by Diaby. Bailey, Diaby down the right. It's a good run. He gets the cross back. Watkins with a backwards header. It's easily plucked out of the air by Sam Johnston. It looked promising as they overlapped on the right-hand side there, Aston Villa. No end product. And an easy gather for Sam Johnston. It remains 1-0 to Palace. They lost their first game 5-1. They've become only the second team in top flight history to lose their opening game by 4+ goals and then win their second game by 4+ goals. The only other time that happened was in 1925-26. Burnley lost 10-0 here against Aston Villa, and then they went and beat Leicester City a week later 4-0. Of course, Everton were beaten 4-0 here after they'd lost 5-1 to Newcastle on match day 1, Aston Villa. Only 9 goals in the 4 Palace games in the Premier League this season, lowest Premier League aggregate. And they'll be quite happy to keep that down with a 1-0 win here today. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1, and you're beginning to sense frustration creeping in amongst the crowd at Villa Park. Here's Mateta bulldozing his way into the penalty area. Lucadinha scoops up the loose ball and then slices the clearance into touch for a throw-in. That was good pressure from Schlupp. Odsonne Edouard, before today, 12 of his 14 Premier League goals were in London. So that's a collector's item. Only his 3rd Premier League goal outside the capital. And it's come in the second sitting. And Villa trail by a goal to 0. Fulham are leading 1-0 against Luton Town at Craven Cottage. Carlos Vinicius with the goal. Suddenly the 0-0s are disappearing. Just Tottenham 0, Sheffield United 0 goalless at the moment. Here's Eze towards the edge of the penalty area, out to Tyreek Mitchell, gets the cross in straight onto the chest of Ezri Konsa, who clears towards Leon Bailey, but Leon Bailey has offered that straight back to Will Hughes, who takes it into the corner. He's got a long time to clear the time on the clock. There's still 25 minutes to go. Will, you might want to just carry on a bit longer. But here's Eze. He's got the overlap again of Tyreek Mitchell. He's found Hughes instead. Eze again. And only the Manchester City striker Erling Haaland has had more shots in the Premier League this season than Eberechi Eze. But here he goes again. Eze's through, tries to beat the goalkeeper, and just as he sticks out a right foot, out pops Emiliano Martinez off his line like lightning to make the stop, and he needed to as well. Here come Villa, not really responding to falling behind so far. And it's it's Crystal Palace that have had the better chances since the goal. One back in the midfield by Decore. That's what he does all afternoon long, striding forward with those long legs, giving it to Eze down the left-hand side. This could be a problem for Aston Villa if they're not careful. Eze taking on Cash, gets to the byline nearly. Cash watches it all the way and does very well. Gets a foot in, and Leon Bailey brings it away to a roar from the crowd. Roar from the Villa faithful. Boos, I understand, going around Old Trafford at the moment, where Brighton are leading by 2-0. Villa losing 1-0 here, but still in with a shout. Digne out wide to Watkins into the penalty area. Watkins trying to make room for the shot. It wasn't forthcoming. It's pulled back, and then the shot is blocked. It was a shot from Tielemans, still looking for that first Aston Villa goal. Now Bailey, chance to cross, finds Tielemans. Tielemans back to Bailey, 2 subs combining to the edge of the penalty area. Moussa Diaby sprays it to the left, and it was a good bit of work really there from Lucadinha to keep it alive. It looked like it was going to fly beyond him. Douglas Luiz to Tielemans. 66.5 minutes gone. Still Villa 0, Palace 1. Leon Bailey came on as a sub in the last game at Liverpool and ended up being substituted. On the bench again today. He's on now. 81% possession in the last 10 minutes for Aston Villa, but it is still 1-0 to Palace, and they are the masters of adversity like this. Long ball into the penalty area. It's controlled well by Watkins, but he finds himself up against a brick wall of white and light blue, and it's a foul by McGinn. More frustration for Villa because they've given away a free kick. Aston Villa 0, Palace 1. 23rd Premier League meeting with both sides having won 8. Just that one goalless draw back in 2015. And look at that chance again that came in the way of Eze a couple of minutes ago, and it was a good chance as well. Martinez does very well to come out quick as lightning. Eze, midway inside the Villa half, left-hand side, pulls it back to Hughes. Decore under pressure, but he's kept the ball. Mateta, it's been very tight, but they've done well here. Crystal Palace. Tyrick Mitchell, now Eze. Turns and has a little run towards the edge of the penalty area. Manages to feed it forward towards Mateta. He goes down under the challenge. They felt they deserved a free kick there, Crystal Palace. It wasn't forthcoming, and now Leon Bailey can break away for Aston Villa. Plays it out wide to Moussa Diaby. Diaby finding Douglas Luiz, but his first touch was poor, and that allowed the challenge from Ward, and suddenly it's end-to-end stuff here. Out wide to Odsonne Edouard. He's got loads of room, gets the cross in. It would have been a perfect cross to Mateta, but for the intervention from Ezri Konsa, who does well to get across first and make the block at the edge of the 6-yard box. Good defending that by Ezri Konsa. Suddenly the game has really opened up. Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1. Elsewhere, Fulham leading Luton by a goal to 0. Manchester United 0, Brighton 2. Tottenham 0, Sheffield United 0. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1. Later on, you can of course catch commentary of the game between Newcastle and Brentford right here on Premier League Live. Tom Rennie will be your commentator, along with David Connolly for that game. And this afternoon, that's the game between Newcastle and Brentford this afternoon. Tom Rennie and David Connolly. Tomorrow, more action coming your way. Bournemouth against Chelsea, Toby Gillies and Paul Parker, and then Everton against Arsenal, Kevin Hatchard and Trevor Steven. Here come Palace again down the right-hand side with Mateta, the source of the first goal. This time the cross is stopped at source by Luca Digne, and he heads it behind for a corner. Still, it's looking as though Palace are just as likely to score here. And they've got themselves a corner. No Roy Hodgson this afternoon, of course, taken ill this morning. Paddy McCarthy, along with Ray Lewington, in charge. They're not missing the man that's in charge week in, week out at Palace. The oldest manager in the Premier League, 73-year-old Roy Hodgson. Here comes Eze's cross, free header. Oh, that should have been 2. How wasn't it? Corner comes in, it's head back across by Anderson, and there is their captain, Joel Ward, to stoop unmarked from 5 yards out, and he's put it a good distance wide, and really, that is a very good chance. Here comes a change for Villa. And it's John Duran that's on for McGinn. John Duran came on as a sub and looked quite lively against Liverpool a couple of weeks ago at Anfield. 19 minutes to go. Villa have got to try and do something. That goal disallowed in the first half. And it's all about fine margins, isn't it? Because Moussa Diaby's goal was a very good goal, but it was offside by a fraction. That's why they put the fine lines on the screen. Decore does a good job combating in the midfield. He's as good as any at that. Schlupp also winning it back, but Villa have it once again. It's switched from left to right, up towards Diaby, who heads it on from the initial crossfield ball from Luca Digne, but Palace are wise to it. Eze, dispossessed. Now Leon Bailey down the right hand side, weaving into the penalty area. Still Bailey, can he get the cross in? He can. It's bundled away by Johnston, headed down by Luiz, thrust towards goal. A first touch since coming on as a sub just a few seconds ago, and John Duran powers it through a crowd, but it was a comfortable save in the end from Sam Johnston, the former Aston Villa goalkeeper. Nodded down, Duran very close. It was on target, it was powerful, it was accurate, but it was straight at the goalkeeper, and Sam Johnston gets down and falls onto the ball, and Aston Villa can't profit. I tell you, it's now Manchester United 0, Brighton 3. Pedro with a third goal there 20 minutes from time. It really hasn't been a good afternoon for Manchester United this afternoon. Aston Villa haven't had the best of afternoons either, but there's still time to turn this one around. They're not going to go down without a fight. Here's Will Hughes. Back to Chris Richards, who's had a good game at the back for the visitors. Mateta tried to get the better of Torres, and Torres was good there, but then battling back was the Crystal Palace substitute. Free kick is given to Villa. Long ball forward to Digne, left hand side. Plays it straight against the ankles of the Dane, Joachim Andersen. Joachim Andersen scored the only goal when these two sides met here in March the 27th. It finished Villa 1, Palace 0. It was an own goal. So a slightly better afternoon this time around. Here's Douglas Luiz. Blocked though by the hard-working Jeffrey Schlupp. Falls for Ezri Konza. Plays it to his central defensive partner Pau Torres. Remains 1-0. Leon Bailey, seen plenty of the ball since coming on. It's back to Douglas Luiz, who makes an overlap on the right hand side. Bailey finds him, cross comes in, Joachim Andersen gets the first touch to it. It's headed away by Richards, and then Mitchell clearing on the volley. It's going to come back again, long ball into the penalty area. Stretching with the left foot was Luca Digne. He got to it, but he can't keep it alive. It's gone into the Holt end. It's a goal kick, and another chance that goes begging. Manchester United 1, Brighton Hove Albion 3, now at Old Trafford. Just over 15 minutes to go, and the Crystal Palace fans sensing that this could be an away win will take them on to 10 points and potentially into the top places in the live table. As things stand, they're going to be in 7th. West Ham 1, Manchester City 2. Bernardo, they could go top with a win today. Hannibal with a goal from Manchester United, by the way. So Bernardo Silva with a goal. Here come Villa. Back to goal for Watkins. Turns towards the penalty area. Wide to the left. Digne with a cross. It's powerful. Here's Watkins. What a great block that was. And it was Tyrick Mitchell. And then the shot coming in. This time it's Will Hughes with the block. And a curling effort. It hits the post. It hits the goalkeeper. It goes behind. And they are living a charmed life at the back, Crystal Palace, at the moment. Well, Aston Villa did everything but score there. Denied by the post. Denied by a couple of really sensational blocks. It was great defending by Tyrick Mitchell and then by Will Hughes, and then Watkins curled it. It hits the post, it hits the back of the goalkeeper Johnston and goes behind for a corner. Wow. That was really unfortunate. Curling effort from Watkins, hitting the post. That's when you begin to think, maybe it's not my day. Corner to Villa. Riding the storm just about, Crystal Palace. There's an injury to the goalkeeper. Sam Johnston. That's why there's no break. There's a break in play at the moment. Johnston seemed to pick up a knock as the ball came back and hit him on the back off the post. It was a curling effort from Ollie Watkins when he could have scored in the first half, and he was unlucky not to score there. The post and VAR have come to Crystal Palace's rescue. Well, they do have a decent replacement on the bench in Dean Henderson should they require it. There's whistles from the Holt end. I don't know why, because at the moment there's a new rule here and it all gets added back on at the end, so there's nothing to worry about. They're not wasting time. There's an injury genuine to the goalkeeper. It's almost as if they're whistling because they might miss their bus home, these Aston Villa fans. Crystal Palace leading here by a goal to nil. It would be their first win here in 10 years under Paddy McCarthy, because Roy Hodgson was taken ill this morning, of course, as issued in a statement from Crystal Palace Football Club. With 25 points from their 14 Premier League games since Hodgson returned to take charge of Palace, they've been in good form. This is an extensive injury to Sam Johnston, and now Unai Emery's gone to the Crystal Palace bench and indicated, why don't you just change it? You've got two goalkeepers on the bench. Both teams have got two substitute goalkeepers today amongst their 9 substitutes. Dean Henderson is warming up in the area down the side of the pitch. I'm not quite sure what the injury, whether he landed awkwardly. And Ray Lewington's signalling to make the change, but changing a goalkeeper isn't quite as quick as changing an on-field player, of course. There's 12 minutes to go, and this is probably going to rack up nearly double figures in stoppage time. Sam Johnston is back to his feet. I think he's genuine, but I'm not sure what it is. So I think he wants to carry on if he can, Sam Johnston. He knows that an injury is not going to do him any favours if Dean Henderson takes over. Well, he's up on his feet, and now Villa can finally take this corner. Well, this corner is going to be taken probably about 8 minutes after they won it. Aston Villa, they're huffing, they're puffing. Crystal Palace have been helped by VAR correctly, and the woodwork so far, as well as resilient defending. In comes the corner, headed away, trying to get a shot in on goal was Ezri Konsa, but it's cleared away as far as Eze, and now Crystal Palace can break, but Eze is all on his own down the left-hand side at the moment, and one flawed touch takes it straight out of play for a throw-in. Elsewhere, Fulham 1, Luton 0, Manchester United 1, Brighton 3, Tottenham 0, Sheffield United 1, and West Ham 1, Manchester City 2. Newcastle and Brentford to come. 10 minutes to go, plus, get ready for it, probably about 10 minutes after that. Manchester United first defeat in over a year at home in the Premier League. Last time they lost was the opening day of last season against Brighton. Looks like they're going to lose again today, 3-1 down. Here come Villa, Cash making the overlap. Good defending by Tyrick Mitchell, who chips it up to Mateta's chest, and he swivels as he takes it down in one motion. Really good play there. Eze gets the return from Edouard, and now Eze is heading towards the penalty area. One to beat, but he trilled on the ball as he tried to get past Konsa. But Crystal Palace still have it. Doucouré, 25 yards out, scoops it over the top. It's Eze! It's a brilliant save. Tried to lift it over the World Cup winner, but Emiliano Martinez was agile enough to adjust his body, lean back and stretch up in the air, all 6'4" of him, and claw the ball away. But that was nearly 2. Very nearly 2. Well, Eze was very, very instrumental there. It was a good save by Emiliano Martinez. A shock at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs 0, Sheffield United 1. The Blades leading. Only one side winning at home this afternoon. It's been an away day. Fulham are the only side that are winning at home. They're beaten Luton 1-0. Brighton, Sheffield United, Manchester City, Crystal Palace and Liverpool winning away. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1. Here on Premier League Live. Cash switches it perfectly to the left-hand side. Luca Digne brings it down. Feeds it back to Pau Torres. Edouard winning it back off of him though, the goal scorer of the only goal of the game so far. He's got options to his left and he's got options to his right. He chooses left, which is Abira Eze. Slowly creeping forward up against Cash. Now he pounces and comes inside. Eze, that's a great shot as well, and leaping through to his left-hand side was Emiliano Martinez to make what looked an acrobatic, but in the end, fundamentally very routine save for Aston Villa. He's very good at that. Eze, it's a confidence player who's very much part of Gareth Southgate's England plans at the moment. Didn't get much backlift on that, but he's still got some power behind the shot. It was comfortable for Martinez. Woods throw. Schlupp turns. Good skill by Schlupp. It slips between two defenders. Wants a free kick. Nothing given by Darren England, the referee. Cash for Villa on the halfway line. Just over 6 minutes plus injury time for Villa to get themselves back into this game. But it's been an away day in the Premier League. Long ball forward over towards Leon Bailey. It's gone out for a throw. Aston Villa still have time to get back into this game, but their long run of wins at home could be coming to an end unless they can turn this around very quickly. Douglas Luiz tries to cross. It hits Will Hughes, goes up in the air, headed away by Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's playing as a midfielder at the moment. Now Hughes, chance to break away. That's a good interception by the Aston Villa man, John Duran. Getting the ball back. Here's Duran again. Has a look up. Left-hand side, it's Luca Digne. Moussa Diaby, now operating down the left. Curls one in. It was almost onto the heads of Ollie Watkins. He was shaping up, ready to head it towards goal. That was a really good interception by Chris Richards. Chris Richards, the 23-year-old United States of America international. He's got pedigree. Signed in 22 from Bayern Munich. West Ham United 1, Manchester City 3, and Erling Haaland has scored. 11 attempts on goal from Villa, 2 on target, 6 from Palace, 3 on target. They've certainly been more ruthless with their shots, and there's going to be a yellow card here for Matty Cash for a foul on Edson Edouard. Odson Edouard, I always get that the wrong way round. And so Matty Cash is cautioned. They've taken their 2 yellow cards off of inside. So Matty Cash shown a yellow. Erling Haaland making it 3-1 to Manchester City. 4 minutes to go. Eze with the free kick over the top towards Anderson, but headed away before it reached there. Villa can now break away. Jean Duran, but good defending by Anderson. He was the last man there. He had to get it right, and he did. Villa still trailing. Looked like a handball from Leon Bailey. Nothing given, nothing appealed. Inside he goes to Duran. Back to Douglas Luiz, who's further forward in this second half for Villa. Comes across from Digne into the penalty area. Oh, that's a magnificent strike! It had everything. It had power, it had precision, and John Duran is the toast of the Holt End. That is a fantastic strike. An equaliser for Villa with just 3 minutes to go, and if it wasn't for the net, it would still be rising. What a strike! The Colombian has just lifted the roof off of Villa Park, and Aston Villa get an equaliser that they really did deserve. Villa 1, Crystal Palace 1. John Duran, the Colombian substitute, has scored. What an absolute Exocet missile. What a goal! That was a fabulous strike. Hit it over the top of Johnston, who could do nothing to keep it out. Took it on the chest, left-footed volley, and it rifled past the goalkeeper and into the net. That really is something to behold. Villa level, thanks to an absolute worldie from John Duran. It's his third goal of the season, 2 in the Premier League. You cannot hit a ball sweeter than that. And suddenly Villa are going for the jugular. Wide to Diaby, left-hand side. Good defending by a combination of Ward and Anderson, but they've got their backs against the wall at the moment, Crystal Palace. There's going to be a hefty chunk of stoppage time to come here, and you'd fancy Villa, who know all about winning at Villa Park. They've won their last 9 here. They haven't been at their majestic best today, that's for sure. But they've had a goal disallowed, they've hit the post, and suddenly they've got that goal. Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 1. It really was a great goal. It's when you hit a ball on the volley like that and it absolutely flies into the net. And, well, Crystal Palace are going to take off their goal scorer, Odsonne Edouard. He's taken his tally up to 5 for the season. They're going to bring on a midfielder in his place to try and shore things up. Nourou Hamadi, the French midfielder, comes on, signed in January from Stuttgart for just under £10 million. Holt End making a noise. Villa trying to back it up with some pressure late on. We're 30 seconds left in the 90. Cash, wide to Bailey. Wastes no time in getting the ball into the box. Down goes Duran, but it was actually a foul by Duran, and he acknowledges it. He caught the defender. Free kick to Palace. Palace fans were hoping that would be a penalty. We're going to need some treatment now. 8 minutes of added time, and with this injury, you might find there's a little bit more. It was a high boot on Chris Richardson. That high boot, as he went down, landed on the back of his head, so he got 2 wounds there for the price of 1. He got 2 contacts with the left boot of John Duran. I think that one might hurt double. So for him to stay down, I don't blame him. Now he's got some thick, curly hair as Richards, so they might have to delve deep in amongst that thicket of hair to find the wound, if there is one. But it's well populated, that thick head of hair that might just protect him. Just having a look at the goal again from Duran. It was a lovely strike, it really was. Takes it down on the chest and then just swings his left foot at it. Both goals this afternoon have been left footers. And that one was sweet. Well, there's 9 minutes. I said 8 minutes. I thought the board said 8 minutes. I thought they announced 8 minutes. Whether they put another minute on top because of that injury to Richards, but it's 9 minutes of added time. We're 1 minute in. We'd expect that to be extended to 10. This is going to be a 100-minute game, this one. 5 minutes in the first half. Villa 1, Palace 1. Still very much alive. Don't rule out Crystal Palace, because they have a capability. It's Mitchell with the throw. Is it kept in play? Well, yes it was. Mitchell does get the cross in. It wasn't a particularly good one. It was plucked out of the air very quickly by Emiliano Martinez. Down the left hand side, Luca Digna, who's played very well actually in the left back position. Digna out wide to Moussa Diaby, edge of the penalty area. Diaby goes on the outside, rolls the cross in, but Anderson is quick to adjust and clear the ball away. 9 minutes of injury time, 2 played. And they're breaking the trend, every away side winning today, with the exception of Fulham, who have beaten Luton by a goal to nil. Here's Tielemans through the middle. It's Watkins, tries to ride the challenge. Penalty. Chris Richards took a bit of Watkins before he took the ball, and Aston Villa have a penalty. Watkins takes it in his stride. He sticks out a boot. It brushes the ball, but it brings down Watkins. Yeah, that for me is a penalty. He's got the man before he scoops the ball. I'm sure VAR are going to dissect it in great detail from every angle. He does get the ball, but he's already got Watkins. This is an interesting one. VAR are certainly going to have a long look. He does get the ball, but he's already got Watkins. He's gone in between Watkins and the ball, and Watkins is on his way down, tripping over. Now check it. Depends how you interpret this. This is going to be an interesting one, and I don't think it's going to be a quick resolution. Well, we might be in the 94th minute of this game, but I reckon we could be here for another 10 minutes yet. So, an interesting one. I think it's a penalty, and the referee's going to go and have a look. Well, certainly Chris Richards gets the ball. The big question is, does he get the player first? Well, in the eyes of the referee, Darren England, who was very quick to give the penalty, that's exactly what he saw. I thought it. As he goes across, he catches Watkins, and then the momentum of his leg swings forward and he gets the ball. This is an interesting one, and it's not an easy one to shout. There's arguments for both sides, and this is why it's taken so long. And whilst none of us like to see VAR take this long, this really is one that is on the borders. Villa wait and hope. VAR take their time. The whole 10 whistling, but the referee wants to get it right, Darren England, and he's concentrating and he's in dialogue with the VAR team of Ian Hussin and Robert Jones. He's gone across, he's not got the ball until his leg is changing direction, and then he scoops the ball away. The question is, does he get Watkins before he gets the ball? It looks like the referee has made his mind up. This is one that, if you're on VAR, it's not one you want, because it is so inconclusive. Darren England is having one final check. He wants to get it right. He'll get criticised for taking so long, but he'll rather get it right and take long than be lambasted for the wrong decision. I don't think there is a right and wrong decision here. This is so marginal. He's still checking, Darren England. What's he going to give? Penalty! He goes with his initial decision. He goes with his initial instinct. He pointed to the spot before the player even hit the ground. He's had a long, hard look, and he's looked over and over and over again. And in the 97th minute, Aston Villa could win it here with a penalty. It's a tough one. It's a tough one on Chris Richards, who's been excellent at the back. Well, Douglas Luiz is going to be the man to take this penalty. As he places the ball in front of the Holt end, onto the white spots. Hands in the air. Sam Johnston with the responsibility of holding on to a point for Palace, who looked like they were going to go on and win this game when they led. But Villa are stuck to their guns. The whistle has gone. Douglas Luiz striding back. From the spot, Douglas Luiz shuffles to the left, up he comes and sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. Aston Villa lead for the first time this afternoon, and that goal comes in the 98th minute. Aston Villa 2, Crystal Palace 1, and it's a very well taken penalty from Douglas Luiz, his third goal of the season, and it looks like Villa are going to take all 3 points, where for a long time it looked like they were going to take nothing. It's going to be 10 wins out of 10 now for Aston Villa. Their home form is magnificent. Villa 2, Crystal Palace 1. Well, it's a decision from Darren England that will be scrutinised over and over again, and I think it's one of those VAR decisions that you can argue both sides for. He decided to go with his initial instinct, and that was penalty. And it's a very well taken penalty. He picked his spot, he looked up, you could tell he was going to put it to the left, but still Johnston went the other way, and he's put it right in the corner. And it's Aston Villa 2, Crystal Palace 1. Very well taken penalty. And suddenly now, with time fast running out, it's Palace that need to throw something at it. We're taking off Decore and bringing on Raksaki. So Raksaki on. Scored 15 goals, 9 assists in League One on loan at Charlton last season. He's not going to get an awful lot of time here. Here is Raksaki, gets the cross in, headed away by Luiz. Not sure that was a header, it's more off his shoulder, but it doesn't matter. Clearance complete. Watkins off, then Donker is on for the home side. It's been rousing. Decore off as well for Palace, replaced by Raksaki, as I mentioned. Digne clears the ball away to Moussa Diaby. And then Tielemans down the line, and Diaby is darting forward down the left. It's Diaby, looks up, pulls it back. This is going to be 3. Simple finish from Leon Bailey. Aston Villa have taken their time to get back into this game, but in the 100th minute, it's Aston Villa 3, Crystal Palace 1, and Leon Bailey is in amongst the goals now. A brilliant goal. Digne with the interception, and off goes Diaby down the left. He bided his time, he picked his pass, and Leon Bailey was never going to miss. Crystal Palace can't quite believe what's hit them in the last 10 minutes or so. It's Aston Villa 3, Crystal Palace 1, and it's Leon Bailey finishing off Diaby's cross past Johnston. I wonder how much that Johnston injury has affected them. By the way, Spurs have come back as well. They now lead Sheffield United by 2-1. Kulusevski in the 100th minute. There's some late goals going in the Premier League this afternoon. We've just seen a couple here. It's Villa 3, Crystal Palace 1. Full-time Manchester United 1, Brighton 3. Good win that for Brighton on the road. Will Hughes. Well, that goal time is officially 101 minutes. Crystal Palace shell shots, don't know what's hit them. Raksaki dispossessed by Digne. They're looking for more. Raksaki winning the free kick, taken quickly by Ward. Back to Hughes. But 1-0, you felt they had this. You felt it was in the bag. Felt that Villa were going to take it on. And well, Villa coming back. They were 1-0 down in the 87th minute. Now they're 3-1 up Villa in the 102nd. Unai Emery. And he's gone through the mill this afternoon. Just when he thought his side were out of luck. A goal ruled out by the smallest of margins and VAR. Although they got it correct, they then hit the post. And you begin to feel that's not going to be your day. You equalise with 3 minutes to go. 2 more goals in injury time. It's the late Villa show. It's the late Spurs show in North London as they've come back from behind to score in the 100th minute as well. Douglas Luiz plays it forward. It's headed away by Tyrick Mitchell. Flicked on by Leon Bailey. Away by Richards, who you feel sorry for that marginal decision to give the penalty against him. Villa fans are celebrating, and it's a very noisy place at the moment, Villa Park. Walking in an Emery wonderland by the sounds of things. Villa happy to concede a free kick, and a yellow card has been shown as well. Not sure who to. I think it was Leon Bailey. Not as it matters. There's a whistle for the final whistle. Surely he's going to come very soon, but it's 4 minutes over the top of the 9 that were added on. There was 5 in the first half. Will Hughes for Crystal Palace. It was Duran with the yellow card for the home side. Good block by Douglas Luiz. It's going to be a throw to Crystal Palace. No one knows when this one's going to end because we're in stoppage time at the end of stoppage time. And because of VAR, we don't know how much stoppage time at the end of stoppage time there really is. Here come Villa again, looking for more. And who would rule it out? Good running once again by Moussa Diaby. He's had another good game. Good defending by Anderson, who's just had a little shirt tug from an Aston Villa player. I think it was Duran, and he's got the yellow card. A couple of yellow cards for Villa there, and now here come Palace. Molly McBurney sent off for Sheffield United. It's got to be the latest sending off in Premier League history, hasn't it? 113 minutes. And this has been an epic one. I thought it might lack goals. We didn't expect it to have 4. Here come Palace looking for a 5th in this game. It's been controlled well by Leon Bailey. Just need to keep the ball now, Villa. Just calm things down. Douglas Luiz played back by Duran. Then Donker cleared by Ezri Konsa. Blocked by Tielemans, drops straight into the feet of a Crystal Palace player and Jeffrey Schlupp. Raksaki tries to get the cross in, it lands on the roof of the net, and it's a goal kick. 2 goals for Spurs in stoppage time, 2 goals for Villa in stoppage time. It's a stoppage time afternoon, isn't it, today? What an afternoon. Unai Emery's 10th win in succession at home. Got some bad news for him though. Aston Villa are away the next 2 games. They're not so good away from home. Got a Legia Warsaw on Thursday, and then next Sunday they're at Chelsea. Everton and Brighton at home thereafter. Goal kick. Emiliano Martinez launches it forward, and there goes the final whistle. Well, for a long time it looked like Crystal Palace were going to take all 3 points after that goal in the first minute of the second half from Odson Edouard, his 5th of the season. But Villa huffed and Villa puffed. VAR disallowed a goal, they hit the post, but eventually it came right for them. An equaliser of pure quality from John Duran, equalising, and then stoppage time goals from Douglas Luiz from the penalty spot, and then Leon Bailey gives us a final score and a breathtaking end to this match. It's finished between Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. Villa 3, Crystal Palace 1. Thank you very much for your company over the last 90 minutes, and let's hand you back to our main game. It was to be Russ Hargreaves who was watching at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Brighton.